Hi, Dick Rauscher here. Today we're going to be taking a look at Insights from the Wilderness number 277. This article is entitled Secrets of a Successful Life. The basic concept that I'm playing with in this particular article is very simple, but really profoundly important, as you'll see, I think. If we use our minds to create our lives, then the more we know about our minds and how they work, the better chance we're going to have to use that knowledge to create a successful life for ourselves. Okay? If we don't understand how our minds work, and that's what creates our lives, we're probably not going to do a really successful job of it. So this article is about how to be successful, and that means learning about your mind. Okay? Now, as a therapist and life coach, one of the things that I've learned over a lot of years, both in training and in work experience with clients, is that we need to learn basically how to tame the childhood conditioning of our primitive ego. Now, primitive is not a pejorative term, it's a descriptive term. When we're little, our ego is pretty primitive. It hasn't sophisticated, it hasn't grown and evolved. Unfortunately, an awful lot of what we know about the world comes from that early learning, and then we never re-examine it, okay? For example, one of the big ones that I like to play with in that is the idea that we're separate from the whole rest of the universe, okay? I'm a me, and I am totally separate from you. You're different from me, and I'm different from them, and I'm different from that bookcase behind me or this board. The reality is everything in the universe is interconnected and intertwined. So that's just one example of how our primitive ego begins to distort reality. And if we really want to use our minds to create a successful life, then we have to explore some of those old assumptions and beliefs from childhood. So taming our primitive ego, in other words, learning who we are and how we function, is very, very important if we want to create a successful life. I think it's crucial. Now, how do we do that? That's the really simple part. Now, like anything simple, it takes a lot of practice and probably a lifetime commitment. But basically, become self-aware. In other words, begin to look internally, look inside. Begin to explore what we believe and why we believe it, okay? Now, this article has 19 what I consider basic skills, habits, and insights of people who are successful. Okay, so this article is chock full of ideas. I can't begin to cover them all here in this video, but I encourage you to read the article. There's a lot of good material, and it's kind of gleaned from a lot of different writers, a lot of different sources. So it's kind of a comprehensive list of what it's going to take to become successful in life. Now, here's the really important concept that I want to leave you with. Simply reading and knowing what these 19 skills and habits are for success, not going to do you 1 ounce of good, okay? Trust me. I've tried. It doesn't work. The only way that these skills are going to be useful is if you internalize them. You have to take them in, own them, practice them an entire lifetime. And over time, if you've internalized them, these habits and skills will begin to manifest a successful life. Okay? So simply knowing them isn't going to help. You got to own them. You got to buy into them. They got to become who you are, basically. Okay, so let's take a look at a few of them. And again, like I said, I'm only scratching the surface of this article, so you'll need to read the article to get more depth on it. But some basic concepts. I tried to pull out a few of the what I think are important ones. One is purpose, or is passion. Interestingly enough, most of us struggle trying to find what our life passion is, okay? What is it that we were born to do. What is our dream? Who are we? Okay? What are we meant to contribute to the world? And we struggle to figure that out, but there's a paradox. Almost everybody that finally figures out what their life passion is, they knew about it when they were little. Most people can say, I don't know why I didn't pay attention to that, but that was something that I really wanted to do. For example, in my case, I went on into all sorts of different areas, engineering degrees and ministry, and ended up as a psychotherapist. Loved the work, but my real passion, I knew about it back in second, third, and fourth grade. I loved writing, and that's, of course, what I do today. But the concept that I'm trying to point out here is that a lot of us really know what our passion in life is. It's just that it's so much a part of who we are, we ignore it. And then we let our heads take over, and our heads say, oh no, you need to become an engineer, which is what I did. And then it said, well, no, engineering wasn't quite right. Maybe what you need to do is to go into psychotherapy. That would do it, okay? An amazing career. I learned a lot from it. I had an opportunity to help other people a lot, okay? But that wasn't my passion. My passion began to emerge as I did this work, and it allowed me to begin writing about some of these subjects, okay? So it's writing that was my passion. So what I'm encouraging is pay attention to your childhood. You probably have a pretty good idea as to what your life passion is and needs to be, okay? Just go back and think about what kind of motivated you when you were little. What were your skills? What made you a little different from other people, okay? It's kind of a fun exercise. One of the things successful people do is their approach to life is purposeful. And what I mean by that is it isn't just knowing all of these skills, it's incorporating those skills, and they do it with an intensity and a sense of purpose that most people don't do, okay? Which is why a lot of people are not successful. Successful people are very purposeful in their growth. They take it very seriously. Successful people see failure as a learning. It's not a failure to them, it's just one more learning. A really good example, I think, is Thomas Edison. I mean, how many times did he fail trying to make an electric light bulb? And when people said, didn't you get discouraged? He said, nope, every time I failed, I learned something. Successful people have that kind of a mindset, okay? Another one is they have an open mind. I covered this a lot in nugget number 276. If you want a little more on the idea of open mind. An open mind basically, as I explained in 276, is the ability to let go of certainty. In other words, inflexible beliefs, the absolute need to be right, absolute certainty that they have the truth. Successful people don't do that. They have an open mind. They don't assume that they know everything. They have a learning attitude. Everything they look at is something to be learned, something new piece of information to help them toward their dreams and their goals, okay? Another one that I think is really important, I learned this from Brian Johnson in one of his videos, which kind of stuck with me because I think it's a really important one. It's called eating the frog, okay? And this concept is successful people get up in the morning and they do that one thing that will most effectively move them towards their dreams and their goals. That's the first thing they do in the morning. They get out of bed, they grab a cup of coffee, they sit down, and they eat the frog. Now, let me put that into my concept, because it's not Facebook, it's not your Twitter account, it's not social media, it's not emails, okay, because that's what I really would like to do. For me, eating the frog means turn on the computer, open up my writing programs, and get at least 500 words down on the computer, or down on paper, in other words. Eating the frog is the last thing that I really feel like doing when I get out of bed. But I also know that it's the most important thing I can do for the day. If I can get those 500 to 800 words down on paper, they don't have to be good words. They might have to be heavily edited, but it gets my brain working. And within 5 minutes of sitting down and starting to type, time just disappears. I look up and it's 3 or 4 hours later, and I've got my 800 words. So, eat the frog. That's what successful people do. They take that one thing that will move them most effectively towards their goals and dreams, and that's what they do before any other distractions happen. Okay? Very important discipline if you want to be successful. Another one that I think is pretty important is that successful people learn fairly early in life, okay, to move from me thinking, what's in it for me, to we thinking. What's in it for us, for the world, for others? How can I contribute and add value to the world and to the lives of other people? Successful people pay attention to that concept, okay? Basically, they understand, and this is, I think, one of the important concepts here, they understand that life isn't just about them, okay? And you'll find that most people who are not successful are very self-focused. It's all about them, their career, their possessions, their income, their ability to go on their vacations, blah, 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 okay? Successful people, they have a we focus. They know it's not all about them. Okay? How do I sum this up? Really simple. In this article, what I try to point out is that for successful people, life is a lifelong embracing of a very simple concept. And that is, they embrace the spiritual evolutionary impulse to become and evolve and embrace change. So what are they doing? They're embracing the evolution of the universe. They recognize that there is an evolutionary impulse. It's kind of a spiritual force in the universe to become. Everything is evolving and becoming. And they make that philosophy a core part of who they are. Okay? They embrace that 100%. So they're always learning, always evolving, and always embracing and preparing for change. Pretty simple concept, but a very powerful tool if your goal is success. Okay, this is a good article. It collects a lot of wisdom. I can't take ownership for all of it, but at least I've collected it for this article. And I really encourage, if your goal is to be successful, this article will give you a place to begin. But remember, probably one of the most important things in this article is right here. Just knowing what those skills are, what those habits are, not going to do it for you. You got to make them part of who you are. You have to work with the evolutionary impulse, and that has to be just the way you come at life. I hope this article is helpful for you, and we will see you down the road.